It just said no. All right, all right. I never know when to start these. I do a little ditty at the beginning. Do, 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 do. Okay, that should be long enough. Thanks, everybody, for coming tonight. I appreciate all of you. 1 or 5. Oh, we got 5 now. Woo! See, I told you, everybody comes in late. 5 people that came by tonight. I appreciate you. And this is Root and Branch. We do 3 separate interviews, and then we bring everybody together and let them talk at the end and ask each other questions, whatever they think of while they're listening to the other interviews backstage. And then after that, we'll open up to questions from the chat. And then if the chat wants to hop in, and you guys can either leave, stay, or whatever at that point, you are free. Then we'll open up to an open room. So as everybody sees, a man who needs no introduction. How you doing, John?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. What are you doing over there? I see you working on like 3 screens or something.
Yeah. Well, no, I was pulling up different windows, making sure I had everything muted and everything like that over here. So.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Because man, sometimes that can be loud. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how I usually start this is I want you to tell me a little bit about your family, childhood, the dynamic.
Okay. Well, I've grown up in North Alabama, pretty much my entire life. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. So, I mean, I had by the time I was a teenager, I was responsible for all of my siblings pretty much. So I had that experience of being the older kid or the oldest kid and having to take care of all the younger kids. I've lived in Mobile for 6 months when I was a little kid, and then we moved right back. So, let's see. Growing up, I guess I was pretty normal. I don't know really what to say about my family dynamic. My mom and dad divorced when I was young, and both of them got remarried later in life. And so, I mean, that's kind of a struggle. It wasn't that great of a divorce, so it was a little contentious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, most of them are.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah.
But I went to school. And I did pretty decent in school until like my last couple years of high school. I was just I was just done with the place.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if I was just really wanting to go to college or what, but right there near the end, it was pretty obvious that I was not interested in like English or literature classes, and I was more focused on like science and math and stuff, because by the time that I'd hit 12th grade, I decided that I was going to be going for an engineering degree, and initially I had decided to go for an electrical engineering degree, and then I started along that path, but then I quickly shifted to computer engineering because with electrical engineering you have like a lot of math and a lot of stuff that I just really wasn't all that interested in.
Right.
Not that the math was hard. It's just like it compared to computer engineering, there's a lot more math involved with electrical engineering. And I almost got a math minor. I really should have taken like the 2 extra classes it would have taken to get a major in math. Yeah.
I mean, if you're there and you already got a loan, you should. Yeah, I would. I mean, you should just. I say that this is coming from a person who never went to college because I was like, I'll never make it through that shit. I'm talking crap. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I got my bachelor's degree in 2009 for computer engineering, and then luckily where I worked at had a program that would pay for me to go back to school for my master's, and so I went back to school for my master's, and that's when I got my master's in software engineering. So,
okay,
yeah, I definitely grasped the software aspect and the computer engineering aspect a lot more than the electrical engineering aspect, which in computer engineering, it's a mix between software and hardware and electrical engineering. And
Huh.
so
Okay.
yeah, and so like in my computer engineering degree for my final project, that is kind of like a capstone type project where you basically put all of your 4 years or however long you went there of knowledge into this last class, and you actually develop some kind of application or piece of hardware or whatnot. And
Oh.
yeah, for my capstone, the advisor that I had was really focused on like health applications. And so what he had us do was use this new proprietary wireless technology and communicate with a heart rate sensor that people would strap like to their chest, or I guess, now that we've got the, the little Fitbit watches and stuff, it could be on
Yeah.
your arm. But you would read that information from there, and you'd have to do certain calculations on it and everything like that in order to get the correct BPM.
Right.
And but we had to design the chipset. We had to write the hardware code. Well, I had to write all the hardware code, and I had to write all of the software code for the desktop to be able to plot it on the screen. And so
Right.
yeah, and so we ended up having that kind of thing to demonstrate to people. And it was 3 people on a team. One of the guys was really good with documentation, so he managed all of our documentation. I did all of the coding stuff, and then another guy did the integrated circuits. He designed them, he had them fabricated and everything like that, and we ended up making like 3 of them. I don't even know. We all got one because we fabricated 3 working chipsets, and I don't know where mine is, but I remember we each got to keep one.
Okay.
And it was so weird because we had to present it like to an audience, which was pretty much, well, my mom and stepfather were there, and then the rest of the class was there pretty much.
Right.
And so I presented it, and apparently we didn't get the battery in all the way on the heart rate monitor or whatever. And so like our application was reading like a heart rate that's like half that. And so I remember one of my teammates was like, can we make this look a little bit bigger or something? Or can we get the numbers up a little bit? And I'm like, well, I can only make my heart go so fast.
Hold on. Let me run in place. Then I'll come out on stage. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll almost have a heart attack, but it'll look normal.
Yeah.
But it was just the battery. What a kick in the butt, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I was able to fix it during the presentation because I like looked at it. I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. And so like I looked at the battery, and the battery was kind of like half-ass in there. It was one of those coin cell batteries. So it was half-ass in the thing. And so I just sort of stuck it in, and boom, the heart rate was, where it should be.
It's amazing when you have full power, what can happen, I tell you.
Yeah. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was my computer engineering capstone. And then my software engineering capstone, we developed a web service for the school, like the school that I went to, UAH. We developed this web service where students could schedule their classes, and it was supposed to optimize their schedules and stuff like that. And, we never really got it going anywhere, but it was just kind of like a project that we did in order to pass the class. Nobody was interested in continuing it afterwards. I mean, we all already had jobs, so it's not like we wanted to like develop it.
Yeah, you guys are like, well, fuck it. See you later. I'm gonna go to work.
But yeah, so that brings us up to 2012, and after that point, I was already working at my job where I was going to be staying at. I had gotten progressive pay raises, so I mean I was fine there, and so it was pretty much just me doing my job after that point. And when did
you meet your wife?
Well, I met KC back in 2015. So initially we had met around 2012 or so, but we met then, and then we kind of went our separate ways for a little bit, and then we reconnected in about 2015, 2016. And that we started, seeing each other at that point. It was right after I had separated from my wife and started, getting a divorce and everything like that. So just kind of, that's just how it developed.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. No, I was just wondering because I've seen you guys interact a lot, even with her, in the chat or off screen or whatever. And I just think, I don't know. I just think you guys are adorable. So I thought I would ask. Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to ask if do you have a relationship still with like your family?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I was 19, my parents actually kicked me out of the house for really dumb reasons at the time. I think that my mom didn't exactly expect me to actually leave the house. I don't know if she was just like mad at the time, and then she had to live with her decisions or something. But she kicked me out of the house, and so I went and I lived with an uncle for a little while, and I eventually moved into the dorms at UAH while I was doing my undergraduate degree, and I only stayed there for one semester. And then the reason why I thought that I could stay there was because I thought that my job was going to be helping me pay for my college, and they ended up not being able to do that just yet. And so I was like, well, crap. Okay. So I had to make this whole case to the person that managed all of the dorm rooms and everything like that. I had to make a case that like, hey, I can't actually pay, so I need out of this. Because technically I was supposed to stay like for a whole like year of school or whatever.
Right. Usually your freshman year, they want you to stay, right? For sure.
Well, right. Well, this was actually my sophomore year, but it was my first year on the campus at UAH. And I was like, I need a place to stay. I might as well stay up here, Yeah. And but it was like incredibly expensive. I mean, it's like you lived with 3 other people in these really small rooms, and you had to I think I probably per month had to pay about as much as I'm paying to live in a whole apartment here. And so it's just it's ridiculous. Yeah.
What? How do they see the system's just rigged against everybody, man? It's just rigged. Shit is rigged. Well, college is rigged, and insurance is rigged, and geez.
Well, I think that probably with the dorm rooms, the reason why the prices are so jacked up there is that people are on scholarships, or their parents are paying for it, or they've got these other ways of doing it, and it's just not all that fiscal for somebody that's like paying their own way through college to do it. And so I couldn't get enough in loans and stuff in order to actually pay for both college and staying in the dorm. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'll just move back in with my uncle. And so that's what I did. I moved back in with my uncle for a little bit until I could rent a house down in Decatur where I was born at. So yeah.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, see, that's the thing is like anytime you go to school, like my first fear for college was they're gonna make me take like music appreciation, and I'm gonna fail it because I don't give a shit about it. Like I'm ADD, so I have to be like, I really want to do this, and if it's anything but this, so all the stuff you have to do to get to that, I'd never make it through. That's really why I never went, because I knew I'd be bored to death, just fall asleep. That's what I did.
Yeah.
This is boring.
So what I did for my college education was I actually went to a community college first, and one of the things that I had to do was I had to take some kind of humanities class, art appreciation, and so that's what I did. I took art appreciation, which I mean, it was I mean honestly I don't remember anything from the class about art other than I was supposed to go to an art museum and do a critical analysis of a piece of artwork. Sorry, hold on. I had to do a critical analysis of a piece of artwork. The only problem is I put it off because I hate writing papers. And I put it off to the point where apparently the art gallery was undergoing some kind of renovation or something like that, so it was closed, just all the time closed. And so I'm like, well, shit, what am I going to do? And so I basically just picked a random painting off the internet. And I was like, in my paper, I was like, I went to the art museum and realized that they were closed for the rest of the month or something like that. And so I picked this random picture off the internet. I passed the class. So, I really don't care what I got on it. I just know that I passed. And
Right.
honestly, I'm going into like an engineering field. I cared way more about physics than I did, being able to criticize art, which, if you look at some of the modern art stuff now, it's all very subjective and it can mean fucking anything. That one person taped a banana to a wall, another person sold a blank space of air. It's weird.
Yeah. No, I've never really gotten into art, honestly. I haven't never gotten into one thing. That's my problem. I take little snippets, and then I got all those little snippets of a bunch of different things, but I don't have a good picture on any of it. So I just know random shit. That's literally, that's literally it. All right. Well, we're about to switch it up here. Any final thoughts, sir, before I kick you downstairs for a couple minutes?
No, I'm glad that we were able to go down this trip down memory lane and, go through pretty much my educational history, since there's so many people out there that think I'm not a real engineer. So that's exactly, because I didn't know you were either when I first bumped into you. And I said something about you to my brother, and he goes, "Oh no, he's a real engineer." And I was like, "Really?" Richard. So I was like, "Really?" And he said, "Oh no, yeah, he's legit." And I was like, "Oh, I need to watch some more of his shit." And it actually made me go on and watch. So sometimes I see your stuff, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, "Ooh, let me check that out. I got a minute," kind of thing. But which is hard to do on YouTube. You end up just all day going from one stream to the other. I don't know why people think I'm bullshitting when my name's Godless Engineer. It's like, are you a real engineer? Well, yes, I'm like, what?
Maybe they just thought you were trying to engineer godlessness.
I don't know, maybe, but like when I created the whole name, I wanted something that stood out and wasn't just the same stuff. And, I had just gotten my master's in software engineering, and I was doubly an engineer. And so I was like, it can't be atheist engineer. Somebody's already taken that. And so I was just like, godless. Oh, that works. Godless engineer. Yeah. Oh, awesome. And so that's when I started creating stuff. So, but yeah, I'm fine being kicked down to hell again. And, okay.
I'm kicking you then. I'm going to bring the next guy up. Okay. Hey, thanks, John, for coming on. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, dun. You thought you were going to get to stay small, didn't you, Andy?
Well, I was hoping. Do you
want to make you small? Would it make you more happy? Here,
whatever way. Whatever. I'm very.
See, but now you look so tiny, and I look so big. No, we're putting you back. I was just playing. I wouldn't leave you over there anyways. I'm not the focus of the show. You are, sir. How are you today?
It's funny that you would say that I'm the focus of the show, though I was listening, of course, and watching Godless Engineer and you talk, and about how you're not that into art. And I would say that you are engaging in art right now. You are an entertainer, my friend. And that's kind of art, right?
Okay, I'll take it. I will take it, sir.
Okay.
I will take it for someone who knows something about comedy, because that's pretty much... That's all I got going for me is my wit.
Well, that can go a long way. That can go a long way.
So, Mr. Andy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up, and same kind of thing. Right. I always like to start there.
Sure. Whenever you talk to someone who has, let's just do some trigger warnings and some, hey, this is, you talk to a comedian, right? Or you talk to someone who's in comedy, and it's like, well, there's some unpleasantness, right? There's a reason why I'm not Godless Engineer and doing math and serious work.
I like the ducks, by the way. They're very cute. But go ahead.
Well, I told people that I tweeted this out and put it on my Facebook page that Professor Kennard would be coming on tonight. And for those of you who don't know, Professor Kennard is my nom de guerre, my pseudonym that I use on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. Yeah, that's a cheap plug, I guess. And so I thought ducks would be appropriate for my background.
Right. Yeah, no, I can dig it.
Yeah,
I can dig it. There's nothing wrong with rubber ducky.
Nothing wrong.
Okay, now you can't avoid it anymore. Go ahead. You'll be fine. This will all ease up in a minute, and you'll just be talking freely. I know you don't like putting on the spot, but I'm doing it anyways. So
okay, no. It's very good. My ability to deflect the material at hand, which is me, is limited. So yeah, my name is Andrew Hall. I was born in Newport, Rhode Island, at the naval base, and I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts. And for those of you who know Brockton, Massachusetts, I'm sorry. I'm setting my condolences. Brockton, Massachusetts. It's called the City of Champions due to Rocky Marciano. No, not Rocky from the movie, but heavyweight champion boxer, undefeated record during the 1950s, and Brockton has clung on to that ever since.
That's what they got, man. This is what we got.
We did that. One dude did that one thing that one time. We're branding the whole city up. Right. Yeah, we're just branding the whole city. So, it was a post-industrial city. We were known as a shoe manufacturer back, in the late 19th century, early 20th century. By the time that I grew up in the city, it was a hard place. I was living on the frontier between bad and suburban within the city. So we got to see both sides.
Oh, yeah. I lived in some places like that. Like on this side of the wall was the ghetto, and there was gunshots. And then you go down a few blocks, and there were some nice houses that started. Yes. Exactly. I call it the fringe.
The fringe. Right. That's a good name for it. So I was brought up in a Baptist household. It's funny listening to John, Godless Engineer, saying that he was normal. One of my notes is like, I was never normal. Like, never.
Comedians are never normal.
Never. So, and I have to tell you, I do envy people who grew up in normal situations and grew up as normal people. Because, that just wasn't me. I grew up with a disability. I had to go to a special school because of a speech impediment. I had some motor problems, so I couldn't control my tongue, couldn't control my fingers. I couldn't move that well either. And so it was really a quest for mastery, if I was going to wax poetic about this, trying to master my own body and in fact being trapped within my own body in some ways. So, I went to a special school for about half a year to 3/4 of a year when I was in kindergarten. And then when I was in elementary school, I went to what's called pull-out classes so that I would be mainstreamed with normal kids. And then I would be pulled out to work specifically on my language and specifically on speaking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there was a speech therapist at the schoschool, and they would pull you out and work on. But that's great, though, because then you're not just thrown in later and nobody knows who the hell you are.
Right.
Because the older you get, the more the clicks start, and it just keeps going all the way through. Does it stop at 60 maybe?
The same group of people I hung around with in high school, which would be the freaks and the geeks, I guess, are pretty much, and no insulting to people who I run with now, by the way, pretty much the same people I'm going to go on the pub crawl with for my birthday coming up. Just the same kind of clip. The creative types, the funny types. Yeah. So I went to Brockton Heights. Oh, I should say that I'm adopted too. I don't want to bury the lead on this because I just reconnected with my birth family. Or they reconnected with me. I don't know if I mentioned this on your show. I mentioned it on my channel a couple of times. But I took a 23andMe test about 5 years ago. And long story short, my birth mom and my half sister and my sister connected with me just out of the blue, just like magic. And that's the magic of 23andMe, everyone. I'm not even a paid advertiser for 23andMe.
I am not, but you could be though.
I
You should
really
call them and say, "Hey, I should do some commercials for you because this shit worked for me."
right,
They'd probably
right.
pay you like $1,000 or a couple grand or something to do a commercial for them. Why not?
Right.
Make some cash off that shit. No,
I
that's
just-
great though. Like, and you drove up and met her, didn't you?
I drove down to North Carolina.
Down. Okay.
Down to North Carolina. It was the day after I got the my second vaccine shot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you're thinking to yourself, and everyone else should be thinking, that was a really bad mistake, Andy Hall.
Only for the girlfriend who drove 3/4 of the way.
She
it
did.
Was fine otherwise.
She did drive a majority of the way. I was basically in a fetal position. Slept 15 hours once I got down to North Carolina. Spent the day with my mom and what apparently my family, my biological family.
Wow.
And I didn't get a lot of one time with her. In fact, I was just chatting with my sister last night, and I'm going to be driving to New York State probably in a couple of weeks to have a sit down with mom. Basically, the first time we've been able to sit down and just have private time together and just talk about stuff. Yeah.
So you haven't got to pop the big question yet.
Oh no, I know a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I know.
Well, the question always is why.
Yeah,
that's what every child that's been adopted or left behind or anything, they just want to know why. Give me a good reason that I didn't have a childhood with my parents, right?
Right. Yeah. There is definitely, I understand the why, and the thing is that, and this is something that I've learned as I've gotten older, and maybe you have too, or you too. I'm going to just look at the chat over here. Maybe you figured this out too, chat. Is that the answers that you get many times are not very satisfying answers?
No. You think it's going to be a big thing, like I'm a Marvel comic superhero, and I had to go save the world.
Yeah.
And I did all this, and I saved 500 million people, and you're like, oh, fine. Well, there was a reason. That's great, but we all want something like that. That big. It was a big thing.
Yeah. And I would suspect that even if you did say 500 million people, the next day you're still standing in line at Starbucks trying to get a coffee. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I suspect. So, I graduated high school. I went, and then I figured out that I'm the B in the LGBTQ community. And
was that high school or college?
That was right after high school, basically. I had always had proclivities, but being a good Baptist, I'd always repressed
big
them.
Word. That's the word of the day, everybody. Proclivity.
Proclivity. That's right. That's right. You didn't just come for the ducks. You came for the vocabulary, too. So I had tendencies. I had tendencies towards dick. That's what I had. I had tendencies toward dick.
It's nothing like just owning it, Andy,
You gotta own it.
And, this is where you and I disagree. I'm just pushing the opposit direction.
Oh, yeah.
Like running, screaming away from.
Oh.
Kind of pushed, right?
Oh, sure.
Get it away from me.
Yeah. So, yep. So, I went to did community college, much like Godless Engineer, in fact. Instead of doing science, I did culinary arts. I can cook. I'm not a bad cook. I worked in the field for a while when I realized that cooking turns me into a jerk, to tell you the truth, because it's a high-pressure job. You need to be done. It has to be very precise. And did I tell you there's a time element to it? There's a big time element. And a lot of culinary.
For everything you do, there's a timer. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's how kitchens run. Yeah.
So because my adopted parents were, we'll just use the word crazy just for the sake of it, right? We'll just use the word crazy, as well as religion. I was somehow drawn to psychology.
Yeah.
And so I became a psychology major over at Bridgewater State College, which is now Bridgewater State University. Engaged in all the geeky activities, the philosophy club. Believe it or not, I was part of a fraternity. There's a story behind that. A friend of mine was desperate to get people into his fraternity because they were trying to get the chapter up and running. And he kind of coerced me. Hey, Andy, I need a warm body. How would you like to join? It's like, all right, dude, I'll do it just because I'm your friend. So I went to school during the 90s, and it was, and a lot of the crazy stories I have is from that time about
Right.
about the Huck Finn story, rampant racism in philosophy 101 class, which was nuts in itself.
Right.
Graduated, did some traveling, met my first and only wife while we were working in kid jail. That's what I tell my kids, at least.
Yeah, kid jail.
Kid jail, right. It wasn't really
Yeah.
jail for kids, but it was definitely a restrictive residential environment where kids with issues lived for a period of time. Met my my ex-wife at kid jail, married, had 2 wonderful kids, a boy and a daughter.
And how old are they now?
He's 19 and she is 16. So I'm almost done.
Wow.
I'm almost done with this leg of the tour. That's what
I was going to say, you're never done, honey. Don't let anybody told you that. That's a lie. They're done it. When they stop communicating with you fully and you don't hear from them for a year, you know they're awesome.
Yes.
Because you only hear from once they move out when something's wrong.
I have to tell you, I'm going to throw that word out again. I have a proclivity for dick and for and for fooling myself too at the same time. So I'm hoping that once my daughter is 18 and out of high school, a particular chapter will be closing in terms of, my life. And it'll be more gravy for Andy, basically. More time, more resources, more fun. Yeah.
That's what the girlfriend's waiting for right now. She's like, 2 more years, man. No.
She has been really good with my kids. She's never really bid with anyone who has kids. And she is one of those brilliant people, Rice University graduate. And then, data scientist. And she's just like rolls with everything, every single crazy stuff that my kids do. My daughter's got an acerbic wit. I don't know where she's got that from, but she just just shoots off crazy stuff out of her mouth. And my girlfriend's just like really chill with it.
That's great. That's great. You must have found the right one. If someone comes in here's a hint, people. If somebody comes into your life and you have teenagers that are running around being crazy and they stay with you, keep that person, because teenagers will drive everybody away. There's always a wedge. So,
right.
Well, okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on, sir. And I'm going to kick you down low.
Wow.
And then we'll bring you back up in a little bit. What?
Just in closing, I feel like I should have been more depressing, in terms of.
Don't worry. I'm going to bring you back up so we can all talk later. You can be depressing then.
Fantastic. You're singing my song. Okay.
I got you, buddy. I always make sure there's room for depression. Oh, he cracks me up. All right. Are you ready down there? And now we have stuck 2 godlesses on one show. It was kind of an accident. I didn't think about it.
Well, I kind of copied my name after Godless Engineer because he's the one, he and I live in the same city. So when I was thinking about going on YouTube, I had no clue what to do, how to do it or anything. So I took John and Casey out to dinner and said, tell me about this. What does one do? How does one get into it? And,
you guys have met in person. I'm so jealous. I mean, I knew you knew each other, but I didn't know you knew each other like that.
John did a debate at a church about 45 minutes from here, and so I went down and saw him there. That's the first time I saw him in person.
Cool. Well, good deal. That's awesome. Well, I guess sometimes it helps to live where you live. Then I know the cool people. Nobody cool lives around me. Everybody's like a day away or more or something. I don't have any cool people. So, Miss Godless Granny, also Kelly, for those of you that don't know. So tell us about your childhood and how you grew up and siblings and that dynamic. Let's start there.
I also grew up in a family with 4 children. I'm the oldest girl, but I was the second child. Um, I was raised in a rather in some ways we were a very traditional family, and in some ways we were a rather unusual family. My parents were very progressive. I was raised in Wisconsin in the 1960s at a time when Wisconsin was considered a progressive state, and I grew up on the southwest side of Milwaukee. However, on the other end of the spectrum, I grew up in an area that was so white that, it was funny. I was listening to you talk to the others about college experiences, and there were Black students at our college, and there were definitely some racial issues, but we really didn't think about it that much because Black people were so few and far between. I mean, I think there were maybe 5 Black students on the entire campus.
So they keep their mouths shut and nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the city that I grew up in, there was one Black person, and it was a boy that was adopted. Well, wow. Anyway, I grew up in Wisconsin, where it is extremely cold. I absolutely can't stand the cold. I would never go back there. I used to deliver newspapers when I was a teenager, and I got frostbite so many times that I got to the point where I could get frostbite at 32 degrees. My fingers will blanch and I'll lose circulation just from drinking a Coke with ice in it in the wintertime. I do not eat ice cream between November and March because I'll just be cold for hours afterwards. So ice cream is only for the summertime for me. I'm just too sensitive to the cold. So while I was in college, I met my husband. My husband and I have been married. We are still married, and we've been married for 38 years. And he was in the Army. He went into the Army with a direct commission from ROTC as soon as he got out. And then he's 3 years older than I am, but I finished college in 3.5 years. So he had to wait 2 years for me. And then we went straight to Texas, and I loved it. The weather in Texas is so wonderful. I was outside in shorts in February working on my house the first year, and I was like, this is so great. I can wear shorts in February. Dee, you're muted.
I was trying not to cough in your ear.
Oh,
I said the summers down there, that month and a half in the middle of summer down there will kill you.
Yeah, that is
really hot.
When my 2 oldest children were babies, baby car seats at that time were still made of vinyl and metal. The belt buckles were metal.
Yeah.
And the buckles would get so hot that they would burn the baby. I would have to wrap the buckle in blankets.
With a blanket or something. Yes, I remember doing that. Because it was all metal back then. That's right. Well, even when my nieces were little, the most of it was metal. Mm-hmm. In the 80s, most of it was late 80s. It was most. Well,
yeah, that's still when this was.
Yeah,
the 80s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it'll burn the hell out of your hand. Yeah, continue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, so we lived in Texas for a while. When we got married in 82, and then I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life. It's very difficult to merge a career with a man who wants to be career Army. And so I tried my hand at a lot of different things. But one thing I thought about as a strong possibility was going into law, because I love arguing, I love doing research, and I love public speaking. So I wanted to go, but I didn't really know that I could merge that with the Army. And so I thought, well, I'll just be a wife and a mother, and I'll be an Army wife. But when I had my first child in 1984, that child was stillborn. And so we had just moved to Fort Knox, and I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anything to do, so I didn't know what to do. So I was, all right, I'll take the LSAT, see how it goes. And if it goes good, I'll go to law school. Because at that point, I didn't know if I'd ever have kids. So right. I took the LSAT, it did really well. And my husband, before we had gone to Fort Knox, we had bought a house at Fort Hood in Killeen, Texas. And when we moved to Fort Knox, we rented out that house. So when the baby died, my husband asked for a compassionate reassignment to be sent back to Hood because we had a house there and we had friends there. And it was granted, which was really great for me because when I decided to go to law school, he was supposed to go to El Paso, and the nearest law school to El Paso is Albuquerque, which is 300 miles away. But Killeen,
yes,
Texas,
it is.
yeah. But Killeen, Texas, there's 2 law schools within 60 miles. I had a choice of UT or Baylor, and I applied to both. I got accepted to both, and I went to Baylor. Graduate school in Texas at that time was dirt cheap. I had a half tuition scholarship because of my grades and my LSAT scores, and I paid $1,500 a quarter for law school. That's it. That's all.
That's like, but see now, look how fast it's gone up, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's messed up.
It was absolutely, college was dirt cheap in Texas in the 80s. So yeah, I graduated from law school with no debts. I worked as a real estate agent for about a year or so before I went to law school, and I hated it, but I made enough money to put myself through law school. So I did that. And my first idea was that once I finished law school, I would go into the Army myself. But that didn't work out for a couple of reasons. And at that point, my husband got reassigned to the tank plant in Lima, Ohio. And we ended up living in Fort Wayne. Did you want me to? You were holding up your finger. I thought you wanted me to wait a minute. Okay, so we lived in Fort Wayne while he was working at the tank plant in Lima, and we did that because there is nothing in Lima, Ohio. We didn't really want to live there. So I got a job working for an insurance company as a litigation specialist. And at that time, I was still highly religious, and so I worked at an insurance company that sold insurance primarily to churches. It was called Brotherhood Mutual, and so I know church insurance inside out. I worked there for 5 years, and I had my first 2 kids, but I also had a lot of issues. There was a lot of misogyny. And the biggest issue that I had toward the end of my time working there was I could see some of my coworkers being groomed for bigger and better things, but I was not. It was obvious I was going to get passed over. So I went to a different insurance company, primarily so I could also work from home. I worked for another insurance company where I was a single person satellite office, and I worked from my house. And I liked that because I was able to work my own schedule to a certain degree. I was expected to be on my phone, during normal work hours, unless I was in the field, but I spent a lot of time in the field too. So if I went and picked up my kids day, it was no big deal because people expected me to be in the field sometimes, as long as I put in my time and got my work done. So I did that, but I discovered that wasn't any better because, once I picked my kids up and brought them home, I was home, but I still needed to work. And so I really felt awful that I was here, but I wasn't there for them. And I was always torn between work and motherhood. And it was literally driving me crazy. I wanted out of work so badly. But by that point, we had reached the point financially where we didn't need my income anymore. And I had worked full time while the first 2 were toddlers. And so I said to my husband, I really want another child that I can stay home with. And my husband said, no, we are too old. We are not starting over with another child. And I started pointing to all of our friends. We had a number of friends that had split families where they had a couple of kids and waited, there was a big gap, and then they had some more kids. And after probably about 2 years of negotiation, my husband finally said, fine. And so Robin was born when I was 40. And I stayed home with Robin, and I really did enjoy staying home and being a mom, which is kind of ironic because when you hear me talk on Twitter with people and argue about how women should have the right to do whatever they want to do, people assume that I'm a career woman. No, I actually spent more of my time home as a wife and mom than I ever did as in a career. I only spent 10 years, working for the insurance companies. Then the next thing I did was I got into triathlon, and I was a triathlete for a while. As soon as Robin started kindergarten, I got into triathlon, and I would work out while Robin was in school. And I actually have done a full triathlon. I did it in 2012 in Sandusky, Ohio. It took me 6 years to train for that race, and part of the reason I did it is I love to swim, but I have no speed at all. I am slow at everything. If you look at all of my race records, I am either dead last or second to last in every.
Not what I meant to do.
Is something wrong?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you for like 10 minutes. My headphone died, and I had to switch everything over to these, and then it wouldn't work, and I could hear everything but you.
Oh, okay.
So I'm glad you just kept going. Thank you for carrying the show for me, Kelly. I owe you one for that.
No problem. So anyway, finishing up with the triathlon. Yeah, I spent 6 years training for that race, and I was really interested when John was talking about developing the cardiac monitors, because I use those all the time. And I'm really interested in one aspect, and that is whenever I would run past a house that had one of those invisible fences, my heart rate monitor would jump from 150 to 250 and tell me that my heart was racing. And I knew it was just an invisible dog fence, but I'm curious as to whether the program that he...
Crap, seriously?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Oh,
that could give them false reading. Well, I'm saying for medical, like if they put you on a heart monitor, which they'll do for a week sometimes, and put you on a portable, then it'll show it spiking. You have to explain that.
Yeah.
Because you got to write everything down. Like dog fence, dog fence, dog fence, dog fence. That's craziness. Yeah. So when did you do you still run?
I can't. Here's the thing that happened the last year is I was working really hard on my running, because my running was my weakness. Swimming is my strength. Okay. And the more I worked on my running, the worse I was getting. And, I kept track of all my times, and I was getting slower and slower and slower. And this made no sense. And so I put it out to the running community. I said, I will give $50 to anyone who could tell me why I run so slow, and another $50 if you can tell me how to fix it. Nobody had any clue. And finally, it was my doctor that figured it out, because I hurt my back. And when after about a week and a half, I still was having trouble riding my bike, I went in and they took an x-ray, and I have always had scoliosis. Right. And I had a 36-degree lower curve and a 19-degree upper curve as a teenager. But when I went in to the doctor and they x-rayed my back, I now had a 45-degree lower curve and a 36-degree upper curve. And that's why I couldn't run, because my spine is so out of alignment. My bones were just so twisted that, I just
wow.
So yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
I was getting worse at a rate of about 3 degrees per year. So they said as soon as you hit 50, that's when it's time to do surgery and fix it.
Right.
So I knew that to do a full triathlon, I had one shot only, because I would never be able to do it again because my spine was deteriorating too quickly. So in 2012, I did my full triathlon, and I walked the run with a cane, because that's how bad it was by that point. And the last 20 yards, I handed the cane to my husband, and I ran over the finish line, knowing that when I crossed that finish line, I would never run again. And I do. I really miss running. Yeah, I miss running. And that's why I've also gotten rather fat, is I can't exercise the way I used to. Your
body's used to that amount of burn off every day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I did have the surgery. The good thing about doing all of the triathlon is when I had the spinal surgery. It's a major operation. It was a 6-hour operation, and it was a 3-month recovery. But I was in such good physical shape that, I was in good shape. But what I did not expect was that after the operation, I can ride a bike, but not like I used to. 10 miles and I'm in a lot of pain. And I find that so frustrating when getting out and riding a century, 100 miles was something I did on a semi-regular basis. I can't do that. And even swimming, that was the big shocker for me, was swimming. Is when I swim, I feel like I have a brick nailed to my lower back, at the top of my pelvis.
Really?
And yeah, well, okay, you have to understand that not only is my spine fused, but there are rods and screws all through it.
Ooh.
And the lowest level spine is bolted to my pelvis.
So that sucks. Talk about immobility.
Yeah,
that just cut down on like a third of the mobility of your back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
When I dance, I tell people I can move my arms, I can move my legs, I can move my head, I can move my shoulders, and that's it.
Yeah, the hip ain't going nowhere. Ain't gonna be no hips in this shit.
No, I cannot dip. I cannot shake. That's it. That's all I could do.
Let's just do the 2-step and have a good conversation. Everybody calm down.
Yeah. I love to dance. You just have to understand that I don't move a lot when I dance.
Where do you get all this energy? My God.
That's what I built up over the 6 years. Now, I hired a personal trainer. I paid a personal trainer that wrote me a schedule every week. And I do. I have energy up the wazoo, but no speed at all.
Well, that's like, I got to tell you, I used to play softball and I was, the typical lesbian. I'm on the gay softball team with a bunch of flamboyant men and a bunch of butchy looking chicks that look like they're going to kick somebody's ass in a minute or something. So I would play in softball and I was getting better with my swings. I hadn't played it since I was in like 9th or 10th grade. I haven't played in years. So I was practicing. I was getting better with my throwing was really accurate again. I picked that right back up and my batting was getting better. And I was starting to knock it out there. Everybody's like, oh, go, go, go. It was like watching a snail run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend at the time said, I need to talk to you about your running. And I said, why? And she said, well, you got a lot going up here, but there's nothing going on down here. There's nothing. It's like this, and your arms are like this. Don't know. Not a runner. Never claimed to be. Always hated running. Always hated running.
I want to clarify something for Harmonica Man. He said, wow, 100 miles. A full triathlon is a 140-mile race. It's 2.4 miles of swimming, 120 miles on a bike, and then 26.2 or whatever a full marathon is on foot. That's a full triathlon.
Well, I got to go take a nap now. I'll let you guys finish the stream by yourselves.
It took me 15 hours to run that.
What's average for that? I mean, I don't have a clue.
It depends on what level you are. If you're an amateur, there are people like me who do it to I race the course. I'm never racing the competition. I'm racing the course. Finishing the course is the goal, not beating anybody. And so I really don't care how long it takes me. A pro can do it in 8 hours.
Whew. Yeesh. 8 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to bed. No. All right. Well, thank you, Granny, very much. I appreciate you. Granny also tried to jump in the other night when somebody showed up, and I said, hell with it. I wanted to leave you with this group. I thought you guys would all get along good. So I'm going to bring everybody else in. We're going to see what you guys have to say.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How is everybody?
I had back problems too, Granny. When I was 14 years old, I was laid out in my church's basement. It turned out I had scoliosis too, and because of the muscle issues, my muscles were spasming. And it was just a mash. That's what it was. Had some physical therapy. I'm okay now, as much okay as I can be. But yeah, I totally sympathize with the whole back problem thing. It's miserable.
I hurt my back once for like 2.5, 3 weeks, I fell 16 feet. My feet were 16 feet in the air on a ladder, and I fell and landed on a roof, flat on my back. My back hurt for about 2 or 3 weeks, and that's the only like back injury I've had. So I cannot say shit. I can't say shit. Can't say shit. Yep, definitely not. 100 miles. Randy said, "Thank you, Granny. I used to go 100 miles by foot for the Army in 3 days. I applaud anyone who does this shit." Yeah, word. I couldn't do it. I barely ran in the Army, honestly. That was the one part of the PT test I had a fit trying to pass. My knees just didn't like it. My legs didn't like it. And I would push myself and push myself. And when I got really close to that finish line and I knew I was good, by the time I crossed the finish line, my knees would be like, all right, I'm done. And they'd just give out. And I'd crumple to the ground. I'd go, hey, can you help me up? Thanks. Because I did it every time. Like mentally, my brain was like, all right, you're done. So my legs just stopped.
See, now that's what happens to me as I look at the course. It's like, I think I'm done. Don't need to really run it.
Yeah, as soon as you look at it, right.
Like, that's I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I tried that with the drill sergeant. For some reason, he said that didn't work. I just said, I don't feel like it today. No, I'm kidding. I didn't say that. That'd be stupid as hell.
My attitude toward finishing last in races was dead last finish is better than did not finish, and did not finish is better than did not start.
There you go.
My fat ass just didn't race.
Better than
what this guy's saying over here.
Yeah. I'm with John. Fuck that race.
So, John, did your cardiac monitor work when you go by an invisible fence?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. We didn't test it like that. We didn't really plan for it to really be used commercially or anything. It was more or less like a proof of concept.
Yeah, Cadence, I don't remember what the requirement was for females back when I was in. But I know every single time I barely passed it within like 45 seconds. It was always like 30 seconds to a minute. And they were like, whew, that was tight, Madsen. Every time. But did I get it? Did I get it, Sarge? Yeah. Well, then I don't care if it was tight. I got it. I don't care anymore. Done with it. Push-ups into sit-ups, man. I could do those. All day. So, Andy or GE, any family military?
Let's see. I don't have any family directly in the military. I don't think. Both of my grandfathers, though, they were in the military. My grandfather on my dad's side, I believe, was in World War II. And then my grandfather on my mom's side was in the Vietnam War. No, not Vietnam. North Korea.
North Korea. Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah. The Korean conflict. No, it's a war. You killed motherfuckers. You guys weren't out there arguing in the middle of the field and talking about who gets to flip the coin first to put the first flag up. Like there was death. It's not a conflict. They do that just to make it sound like it's not so bad. I swear to God that, it was just a small conflict.
Oh, Granny,
how long were you out there? 3.5 years.
You know the difference between a conflict and a war.
It's ridiculous.
A war is declared and a conflict is not. Because Congress never declared war, that's why it was a conflict.
Yeah. My dad was in Korea. My adopted dad was in Korea, and my birth father, my biological father, was in World War II, and he fought in Saipan in the Pacific Theater.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. One of the nastier battles in the
Pacific
Theater. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm glad he's still alive. That's great.
Well, he made it out of there, but he's not, he died a couple of years ago.
I missed that part. I'm sorry, my bad.
That's okay. There's my birth dad. There's my adopted dad.
Yeah, I know. It gets confusing, damn it.
I should have sent you notes.
You should have. Like, I need notes on your life. Yours is too complicated. Everybody else is easy, but no, not you. You gotta. I meant to ask you, Grady. When did you got married at right out of high school, right? Weren't you like?
No,
18, 19?
right out of college.
Oh, at the end of college. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So in 82.
82. Whew. And he's still putting up with you. That's pretty good. No, I'm only kidding. I kind of have a feeling that he's got it pretty good. So, from what I know about you. So, yeah, seriously. So, does anybody in the chat, I forgot to ask, I apologize. I was just letting you guys wing it over here by yourselves. Anybody in the chat have any questions for anybody, let me know. And if nobody does, I'll open the room up. And then you guys can ditch if you want or hang out and BS, whatever you want to do.
I
give
in the
people
BSing
options.
kind of mood, actually.
Ooh, I'll keep me and
Rare
Andy.
as that is.
Do I hear John or Granny?
I'll stay on for a little bit, but
Okay.
I'll probably need to be getting out of here in the next maybe 20-30 minutes.
I'll take it, buddy. That's cool.
Same thing. Yep.
Cool. Really want to try to get, I would like to get Jenna and Susan in here. That would be cool. Jenna, because I never talk to her anymore. She works all the time now. Damn nurses and their schedules. You just can't get them on YouTube anymore. Going out there helping the world, saving lives. Forgetting about
Very
YouTube.
selfish. Very selfish.
I know. What the fuck, man? There's a question for Cadence for GE and Andy.
Start over again.
Well, in the beginning,
I think that's a no.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God, and all things came into being through him, and apart from him, nothing has come into being that has come into being. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shone in the darkness, and the
You
darkness.
know what? I swear to God, I will kick her in a minute if she keeps doing that shit.
I told you I'd trigger people. That was this whole thing. That was just the setup.
That's actually the Gospel of John. That's not Genesis.
Of course. Good job spiking the ball. I like that.
There's actually a legit question there, John.
Where you kissing on screen together doing a funny skit? Probably not. I typically do my skits with Burcephus.
I have a question. I have a question for John. John, how many times have people ask you if you had got to wear the little hat being an engineer?
That's actually train caboose engineering. Wrong hat.
I've never actually had somebody ask me that before. Typically, the only questions I get are you really an engineer? Or is that like a branding thing? And that's I think that maybe it's because engineer has so typically been affixed to things that are typically not like really engineering jobs. Like there's the one that I always look at, or I always see on the side of the road, is tire engineer from what is it's a quick oil change place.
Like Jiffy Lube or what's that other place? Oh my God, there's so many of them. I can't think of them right now.
But I mean, you know the kind of place I'm talking about. They always have like tire engineer on the side of it. I'm like,
is the guy recreating them or changing them?
Well, no, see, because like the whole engineer part is about having a process. You go through a whole process to ensure a whole wide range of things, like to ensure that whatever product you're developing is properly documented, tested, and ready for I guess public consumption. Ready to be sold to your customer. And like there's a lot of documentation that goes into it. There's a lot of things that you've got to test for. And so that's what it means to engineer. It means to go through the process of engineering to produce a well-made product. And I just don't think that the quick oil change people are engineering new types of tires. No. I feel like the engineer on the tire engineers is more of a branding thing than anything. So I can understand people thinking, oh, this is just a branding thing, like a tire engineer at the oil place. But it's not. There are some people that want to say that software engineers are not really engineers. But when you consider
like a throwdown.
Huh?
That sounds like throwing down for some people, saying that software engineers aren't real engineers.
Well, yeah, it's because they don't understand what it means to be an engineer. As long as the field is practicing, like the principles of engineering, then you're an engineer. And
Right.
people want to try to say like, oh, to be a professional engineer, you have to take this test and whatever. But they fail to realize that that particular test is really only required for like civil engineers, electrical engineers, and stuff like that, because typically whenever you're going out for those jobs, you have to be certified by like the state, or you have to be certified in some kind of way that you're building things that are up to code for like federal code and state code and all this other stuff. And so you have to be licensed in that way, and you have to have this professional engineering like certificate.
And that's where I was going to go next. I was going to say, hey, Granny, do you think they went too far calling it a domestic engineer instead of a housewife? I mean, come on, really, guys.
Better.
You what?
I still like domestic goddess better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, who doesn't? If you're one of those people. That would be like saying the non-domestic god that goes to work and brings home the money every day so I could be the domestic goddess.
Right.
Everybody, the guy would love to be considered, or the more masculine one in the relationship, in some people's cases, would love to be considered a god. But realistically, I feel like domestic engineer went too far.
Yeah.
I mean, now, of course, people like your age and older, not that I'm saying you're old, people that are older than you and are old, right? Okay. Got out of that one barely.
Hey, I am old. I know I'm old.
No, you're not. You're only like 8 years older than me, right? You're not that much older than me.
It doesn't matter. I'm still
You're
old.
not old. You're fine. But anyways, the older generations, like they went in high school, they had like crafting and sewing, and they learned how to do all the domestic chores, so they could actually be considered domestic engineers because they were professionally taught that position. Now, after that, nah, man, like a little bit of sewing and in home ec. That's all I did. I slept through the rest of it. They gave me an A. There's nothing to it anymore. Even if I don't even know if they still do that. They probably don't. But anyways.
Point of interest on engineering. My dad is an engineer. I can't remember if he's a mechanical or an electrical engineer, but in the 60s, we moved to Boston for a year, and he worked at a think tank at MIT to develop the gyroscopes for the Apollo program.
Okay. That's nice. That's awesome. My now that you say that, you made me think of something else. Okay, we're just going to ping off each other here. My ex-father-in-law, my ex-husband's dad, Tom, he retired 35 years Master Chief in the Navy. And the last thing he did, when he retired, he worked for the Navy for like another 18 years or something like that to get to that officially retired age, because he went in fresh out of high school. So he retired early. So he worked for another 18 years as a civilian working for the military. And he got put in on this project, and they were engineering a weapon for the battleships. And so he was the third guy on the project. Originally 4 people, 2 left. They brought 3 more in, and he was in the second group. So from the third waypoint to the finish of the phalanx system that the Navy uses to shoot down enemy aircraft, my ex-father-in-law helped develop that. And cool. For the last time I talked to him, he had just came back. They flew him to some base somewhere, some Navy base, took him on a helicopter, took him out into the water, and dropped him off on the deck. And he gets out, and he's got this big gut and a big long beard and shaggy hair and a baseball cap and a pocket shirt. Had to have a pocket in it. Had to carry his cigarettes. Pocket shirt and his jeans and his Velcro fucking old people shoes, and walks out across the deck. And everybody's like saluting him. He's like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Let's go get this shit fixed. So that for years, while he was doing that 18 years of civilian for the Navy, they'd helicopter him out to the ships once they got close to shore, and he'd show the kids how to fix the phalanx system because they had no clue what the fuck to do. It was so complicated so computer based, so exact, so precise. If one little thing wrong, it would send an error code and they'd all go, I don't know what to do. And he'd go, come here, let me show you how to fix this. This is real easy, man.
Well, that's the kind of hardware you want on a military vessel, something that is easily broken and hard to fix.
Well, no, not easily broken. It would just, it was so hyper. Well, do you know what the failing system is?
Well, you said it's something that an anti-aircraft?
Yeah, but it like shoots them down by itself. Like there's no manpower to this. Mm-hmm. It is an automatic defense weapon. So right. if you're on the boat, and you have no clue anybody's coming at you, and that gun starts going off, that's a good hint. You know, like you're going to hear that. And the shells on it are like this tall, and the base is like that big around, and they're armor piercing, and yeah, and it's crazy. Like this gun is loaded up with bullets, and you rarely have to, like after a big fight, you have to reload it. But yeah, pretty crazy. He was super smart. I couldn't hang out with him too much. I felt stupid. No, I'm kidding. Actually, we were best buddies, and I totally miss that guy. He was great to talk to. But yeah, so that's my, one of the military stories I know.
I've become very comfortable with my inner idiot.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't care. I'll just tell people I don't know. I don't know why everybody has to hide shit. Oh, you know about blah, blah, blah. And I'm like John was talking about college, and he's like, oh, this and that and that. And I'm like, yeah, he lost me at engineer. What did you say? I don't fucking have a clue. But, it's okay because somebody out there might understand him, and that's fine. I don't know. I mean, I know the basics about it, of course. But, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know shit.
So I actually have had to work on a test in Abu Dhabi.
Oh,
easy for you to say.
What?
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. We had a test out there that we were running for a system that we managed, and they needed operators. And so I didn't get the luck of operating anything. But I was essentially like the driver or whatnot, because this is my first test, and I guess they didn't want me to fuck up or something like that. So I ended up just driving people around places, but it was still pretty cool to like be out there and actually see the system work. We had to test on a military base, so it was pretty interesting. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for people who have never been on, like, honestly, I feel bad for people who have never been on a military base. I mean, depending on which. Like if it's a National Guard reserve base, it's not very exciting. But if it's an actual like,
drag me kicking and screaming to get me at Fort Knox again.
Oh, but you've already been. That's what I'm saying. But people haven't seen it. It's a whole different world. First of all, you do not speed on a military base. I don't give a fuck who you are. They will get your ass. Don't ever get into a military base and go, oh, I'm going to speed. No, don't do that.
And Caitlin's right. Redstone Arsenal is lovely.
Redstone Arsenal. Redstone. Is
that by Knox? Up here in Huntsville.
Oh, it's in Huntsville. Oh.
Alabama.
I know I've heard of it. Does anybody know the name of? There's a mountain in Missouri that used to be like a bunkerish kind of place for the military, and now there's warehouses in there. And I think the name of the road that goes into it is like Underground Road or something like that. But it's this big ass mountain, and you drive a tractor trailer into it. And it used to be a military installation, like during World War II or something like that. And it's since been bought out, but it's really cool. Like you're like driving around where they left part of it in for support because you're underground. And the ceiling's probably, I mean, I figure a tractor trailer's 13.6. I think the ceiling's like 16 foot. It's not very tall. So when you're driving in, you feel like you need to duck because you're in a big truck. And then you go around a couple corners, and your tires will almost hit the sides of the walls, which does not make you feel warm and squishy either. And then you drive in, and there's like these stalagtite pillars where they didn't blast the whole thing out for support. And you have to drive around those like you're backing up. Oh, there's a huge piece of the mountain right here. Big piece of rock.
And what's the name of this video game again?
No, it's No video game. That was called 2012. I went there several
2012.
times. In 2012, I went
I
there.
hear it's a
several
lot
times.
better than 2020.
I tell you what, you won't get there is you will get no signal for anything.
Yeah.
You get
Now, is
like
it one of those
30
old-
feet in there.
Is it one of those old salt mines? I know that salt mines are old, no longer in use.
No, I mean it was a military installation. I can't think of the
Yeah.
city it was in for some reason right now. It's escaping me. The first time I went there, so they give you directions. Like go down this road. When you turn on this road, stay on that. You'll get through the guard shack, and they'll tell you to go ahead, and then you drive into the mountain, and you're like, what do you mean by into the mountain? And you get there, and the guy's like, all right, go ahead. Over there, take a left. And I look, and there's a mountain with a hole in it. I was like, no. Seriously? Seriously. It was so skinny. Like, there wasn't room for two vehicles. There was mirrors, and you could see somebody else's headlights, and they had to stop and wait for you to come through. It was basically like a one-way deal.
I'm going to show my age and my movie geekdom by saying, if there wasn't a hole there, they would just say, you got to go Buckaroo Banzai that shit right there. If I can
Yeah. I don't care how you get there, driver. You get that load to the customer.
Right.
That's right. First place I ever went that it actually took me like 30 some odd minutes to get the truck in because it was so tight with the pillars and the coming. They were randomly everywhere. And I was like, this isn't made for a full-size truck. Like, who would send me in here with a full-size fucking Kenworth with a nose on it? And it took me like 25, 30 minutes to get it in there. And I've always been like the backup pro. It was just I just can't even explain it to you. If you were a truck driver, you go, yeah, man, I hear you. That's bad. Somebody just say that real quick. Okay, I'm better. I'll move on now. Anyways, Randolph, you want to come in? You are always welcome, sir. And two people are going to ditch me here in a minute anyways. It'll just be me and Andy, and he'll have to put up with my loud mouth. So if you want to come in and save him, you are welcome to it. So then I see, like, tonight, I got to get on my stream, and I see, like, 6 people are streaming tonight that aren't normally streaming on Monday. And I'm like, what the hell is that? You bastards took my viewers. No. Actually, no, I think I have that's about my number right there.
That's your number?
Right. That's about my number. I usually hang between 15 and 20, I think. So I'll take it. I'm not worried about that anyways. I want people to be friends and everybody get along and get to know each other. And, I don't know. Thank you, Sandy. She said, nah, we're all here. She knows the list.
I remember John being on my show, Best Advice Ever, though I forget the best advice John gave. Because I think that was like a year or two ago. It's been a while.
Write that shit down?
No. I had a bunch of people coming through that show. And I remember Thomas Westbrook's best advice. Godless Engineer. It's like it's somewhere stored back in my deep brain. I just can't recall it off the top of my head.
Right. Well, that's okay. It's all good. We can entertain ourselves. Oh, big topic I'm on right now. Ready? Mars. Have you guys seen the rocks that they recorded up there? Oh, they're so cool. I mean, some of them look like some limestone or some sandstone, maybe a little shale. And then some of it looks like hardened lead that has been, it looks kind of like they called it a rock. And I was like, dude, that looks like metal that's been melted and reshaped and then worn away by the wind. It looked like lead, except I think I think on Mars lead wouldn't be solid like that, would it? Because lead has such a low heat point to become soft. But that's what it looks like. And there's rocks on there. There's rocks on there that looks like people's faces. It looks like it used to be a statue. And I'm like, please tell me you guys didn't miss that shit. And you guys saw that look like a carved face.
I mean, are you talking about the same face kind of thing that's been in the news like for years now.
I don't know. I don't watch the news. No, they
the
just found this.
face
They
thing
just
on Mars.
they just found it. No, they just found it recently with the new rover that's down there. What's it called? Persistence or something?
Yeah. Well, most likely it's just a case of pareidolia.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but it looks cool. They just look cool. They don't look like our rocks. I think they're cool. I like rocks.
Yeah.
Sue me. I'm not a computer person. I like rocks. See, that's the level of intelligence difference we have here, John. I collect rocks. You play with computers.
I was in Colorado recently, and a lot of the mountains there are primarily sandstone. And so, sandstone is not exactly the hardest of rocks, from what I understand. And you can see in the flat tops, that's the type of mountains that are out there. There's a lot of erosion, and it looks really cool. It just looks, that's my whole point. There's sandstone in Colorado, and it looks really cool due to erosion.
It does. It does.
That's my contribution to the rock discussion.
Look,
but it proves young Earth creationism.
Look, I'm going to tell you. So you know how, I'm in the high desert. So there's mesas, right? And everybody knows that. There's mesas everywhere. But usually you see them like out away from cities. At least that's been my experience thus far. The whole year and a half I have been in this state now. So I got close to Albuquerque, and I was with my, at the time, girlfriend. A whole different story. And we're driving along, and I was like, and there was like this equipment on top of one of the mesas. Like some big, like, grader or something like that. It looked like a grader from down way below miles away, but I could see it, And I said, why did they flatten the top of that mountain out? Because everywhere else where we are around, because we were on the outskirts of Albuquerque at the time, there's all mountains, and then just there's these mesas right here by themselves, and she's like, what are you fucking talking about? And I said, why did they flatten it out? I could see the equipment up there. She's like, no, it came like that. It's a mesa. And I was like, oh, I mean, mountain, mesas, mountain. Forgive me for not knowing, with a fucking big grader on the top of it, some heavy equipment. Like, I added 1 and 1, and I got 2. And apparently it was 1.5, but whatever. So, but it's pretty cool out here because you can see some pretty cool stuff.
I've been out to New Mexico before and spent a couple of weeks there. This is back in the day. Had a great time.
A couple of weeks.
Had a great time. What's that?
Did you say it's been a couple of weeks?
No. Well, I was there for a couple of weeks.
Oh! I thought you said it's been a couple of weeks, and I was like,
I was in Albuquerque.
Okay, Andy.
I was in Albuquerque, and I had a very nice time. It's totally different. Well, what impressed me the most about the Southwest, and we're talking about Mars and everything, is that it just seemed to be from another planet. The landscape there, I'd lived in New England all my life, and just going out to that part of the country made a big impression on me.
It's, what I love is I love to see where the mesas, where the highway goes up some, and you can see the mesas below, and you can see the trails where the horses and the wildlife walk. I think I could just almost see Indians there. I can almost see Indians there. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say Indians, Native Americans. I almost see Native Americans there. It just kind of, the first time you drive through those areas, it's just mind blowing. And what's great about here is where I am, there's smaller mountains, and one good sized one they call Mount Baldy, because it's so high up, no trees will grow on it. It's like 15,000 feet in the air or something.
It's like the Alpine reaches.
It almost is. Yeah. And in the wintertime, when all the other snow melts off, that thing is white all winter long.
In Colorado, they call them 14ers, and they're mountain peaks that are over 14,000 feet tall. And we drove up one recently when we were in Colorado. It was so fun. It was just very tundra. There was a lot of tundra up there.
Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I think it's 12,500 to 13,000 feet. But still, yeah, you get it. And then where I live, it's all like small trees and smaller mountains. And then you drive, an hour or so south of me and go on the east side of Albuquerque, and there's just mountains everywhere, and you feel like you're in the fucking forest again. It's so diverse here. It's great.
It sounds
and
like
it snows like crazy in the Sandia Mountains. Like it snows.
It sounds like you're about to transition into a story about peyote out in the desert.
No, I wish. I would love to. I honestly, I've told Ox this too. I would love to go spend a week with a native tribe. like, and just get to know them and spend. I've always thought since I was little that, and they were doing all that promoting of how bad the Native Americans were. I was sitting there going, I want to be friends with them. They care about the earth.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was raised on a family farm, to care about the earth. And they were the only, besides our community that I knew of on TV, that felt that way and loved the earth. And I was like, I need to hang out with those people. I get along great with them, you know?
Interesting story about Quentin Tarantino. He's part Native. And so whenever he was young, he was watching, the traditional cowboy and Indians movie. And his mom would say, the natives are the good guys. We're them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my mom didn't talk shit about anybody. Like even my dad, after she kicked his ass out for cheating on her for umpteen years, she was like, your dad has lost himself, and hopefully one day he'll find himself, and then you guys can have a good relationship. And that's all she would say. And I was like, he's a piece of shit. You're really nice. Like, but yeah, so I mean, I don't know. But yeah, Sandy, don't you know, man? People, has anybody ever asked you, like, if you could wish one thing for the world, So let's do it real quick. Grady, if you could wish one thing for the world, what would you wish? Gosh. One thing that would help the whole world.
Climate change. Fix climate change.
Fair enough. John?
If I could fix one thing, it would be the dumbass Republicans.
Whew, amen to that, brother. I'm right there with you. Andy, what do you say? What do you say, sir?
Well, John took my answer. Thank you, John. So what do we have left? I can't sound like I'm biting Granny's style with climate change.
Get rid of indoctrinated religion.
Go with world peace.
I love world peace.
World peace. Be the beauty queen. World peace.
I just want to be funnier, to tell you the truth. That's all I really, in a strictly narcissistic way for the world. I saw a Bo Burnham special the other day. And if you haven't seen it, it's beautiful. It's like, wow, I just want to be that talented. And that's what I wish for the world, in that strictly narcissistic comedian way.
This is my answer. And years ago, I didn't have this answer. And then when I got into my 30s and knew better the struggles that my mother went through, trying to raise us and keep us happy and healthy, and try to do all the things we wanted to do on pretty much no money. My dad paid $150 a month child support for 6 kids. Wow. So that gives you an idea, right? I would wish for everyone to have a mother like mine, and hopefully 2 parents like that. But at least a mother that is so open-minded, truly loves everybody. Even if someone's an asshole to her, she would just go, you know what, he's a jerk, I don't want to talk to him anymore. And she'd be done with it, And she was just an amazing person. And she taught us to be independent, and she taught us to be strong. And if we had questions, she'd say, did you reference it? No, Mom, I didn't reference it. Well, you know where the encyclopedias are. Let me know what you come up with. That's what she'd do to us. And she was a teacher, and whenever we were on our way to school, every single morning and every afternoon, she would drill us. You have a test today. So she had 3 kids in 3 different classes, and she would ask us questions about our class one at a time, take turns. And she kept track of all that shit in her head. It was amazing. Totally amazing. But anyways, the point is that she had our backs no matter what. And she was just a good, loving fucking person. And if everybody had that, I think the world would be a better place.
It's taken me years to figure out that people like that really do exist, and they're not just mythical.
I just didn't know how good I had it, man.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I fought with her all the time when I was. If I would have known, I would have shut the fuck up. I would have shut up. And not to say, real quick, say hi to Randy. That's the beauty about being a kid. Hi, Randy. How you doing? Hi, Tobin. Hi, buddy. Yeah.
Good evening. Hello, all y'all.
What's up, Tobin?
And you're right. That is something. It's just being everybody had angry teenager phases or whatever. At least I think most of us did.
Yeah.
Phases, right?
But I mean, I'm not going to say she was an angel.
Pissed for years.
Well, yeah, I think you should be. Oh my God. Anyways, I'm not going to say my mom was perfect. She kicked my ass one time. She was 5'2", and we were arguing, and she was slamming pots and pans, and I went to walk out of the kitchen, and right when it got dead quiet, I said, "Bitch," and I just stopped in the doorway, and I knew it was coming, and I just stood there and waited for it, and I was my full-grown 5'6.5" height that I am now, and I had long hair, and she grabbed me by my hair, and she yanked me in the kitchen, and she put her foot out, so when I stepped back, I tripped, and I slid on my back and hit my head on a restaurant-sized Vulcan stove. I bet your granny knows what that is. Hit my head on
I don't.
Oh, it's a big 6-burner. Oh, yeah, you cooked. You do know that it's a restaurant stove.
Yeah.
They're heavy-duty restaurant gas stoves, and they don't move. Like you're
Let me
not
say,
going to...
if you're going to use a
2,000
stove for a
pounds.
beatdown, that's the kind of stove you want.
Yes. So she said, "Get up." And I rolled over and went to get up on all fours, and she did it to me 3 times. She kicked me 2 of them. The third one, as I was getting up, she grabbed me by my hair and slammed me into the chair that was at its back against the table. And I hit like this and looked up at her, and she said, "Now that's a bitch. Go to your room." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I went. And that was enough. I was 17 years old. I shut the fuck up, and I just took it because I knew I deserved it. Never called her a bitch again.
Yeah, well, and when you're growing up, it's like you wouldn't say shit if you had a mouthful, and then you become a teenager about 13 or 14. Hey, let's test the waters. I'm getting sick of shit. I'm going to tell you what for. And then later on, you're like, oh, crap.
I'd say that's one of the few mistakes because, all parents make some kind of mistake. But I feel like the only mistake my mother ever made was she did that old-fashioned don't speak until you're spoken to. So, like, if you're dying of thirst and you're too small to reach the tap, you got to stand there while the adults are talking. Cut the water. I need water. Yeah. Yes, Sandy, it is a monster stove. But
I brought
anyways,
my kids in the no gods, no kings, no masters mode.
So, Tobin, if you could give the whole world one
Hey,
thing, what would you
go
give
ahead,
them?
Tobin. Sorry.
If I could give everyone something in the world,
Like no,
what would
or
I
no,
give
no,
them?
just fix one thing in the world. What would you fix?
Oh, thing. Clean water for everybody.
Oh, that's a damn good one right there, buddy. I like it.
Yeah,
there's
I
actually
think that
companies
goes
now
into,
that are making.
so much hygiene and health.
Go ahead. You're glitchy. Try turning off your camera, buddy. Your audio is jumping.
Am I glitching? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, kill your icon. There you go. Thanks. Maybe that'll be better. Randy, what if you could fix one thing? What would it be?
What? I'd like to buy the world a Coke and live in harmony.
So ashamed
I
right
don't
now.
know. The world's pretty fucked up. What can you fix except for humanity itself?
Well, apparently you can't fix stupid. So,
Nope. You can fix ignorant, but you can't fix stupid.
Looks like you're building a house there, Randolph.
well, this is the future studio of the True North Talk program, and what we're looking behind me here is the south end of it. This part is the north end. I just recently removed the roof from the northern half of it.
Oh, looks like he's pulling a Tobin.
Yep.
So I just removed Sorry about that. I just removed the northern part of the roof because it was rotting. The previous builder who made it mostly just stapled it into the 2x4s instead of actually using nails and screws. And then they didn't leave any gaps between the boards. So they of course got wet. It's OSB, and they buckled up and it leaked worse. So I'm putting in proper plywood now and getting that off. Most of it was pretty easy, except for the end part was actually built properly, so it was hard to pull it off. So
damn it!
Yeah.
How dare they
probably
build that
clear
properly?
y'all out.
OSB stands for oh shit better.
I couldn't understand anybody.
It would probably trip y'all out. Oh, damn it. Try to-
You mean if it was built properly?
Well, it was built properly, I wouldn't have to.
Like they fucked up the rest of the roof, and then in this part, they're like, "Watch this shit. I'm gonna fuck this guy up."
So all those roof framing, they're supposed to be 16 inches apart, but there's a couple over there that are 24 inches apart, and I wonder if it was just to save money on a couple of 2x4s.
Well, you know, sometimes if you hire a shoddy person, they do shoddy work.
Yeah.
Or maybe they ran out of lumber, and so they
That's what
said,
she
"Hey, I
said.
don't want to run back to the lumber store again. We'll just space the last couple apart further."
That's a plausible explanation. Yes.
Could be. Oop, could be. Could be. Absolutely.
So I got to go and carry some big pieces of plywood around and start on this here. So I'm going to work on that while you're all discussing, and I'll be listening. And thanks for hosting.
Excellent.
What a fantastic panel with a whole variety of backgrounds. I like it all.
Thank you, Randolph. And I appreciate
Yes.
your contribution in the beginning there. You've been amazing. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. It was a pleasure to be on. It was an honor to be first on your show. I appreciate it very, very much.
Aw, thank you. It was great having you. All right, you go work, little worker bee. We'll watch you.
But I think you keep working at this show, you'll be you'll gain more subscribers and viewers. I think that's inevitable.
I just want people to get to know each other. That's all.
It's great. Yeah. I know you do.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want, buddy. I want to make more friends.
Well, I need to head out as well, so I guess I'll be saying bye to everybody.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming, John. It was good seeing you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
you
appreciate
too,
it.
there, Godless
Later.
Granny, Kelly.
Hey, GE.
See everybody later. Y'all have a great night, okay?
You too, buddy. Thanks so much.
And I also need to take off, but
Yeah,
thank you
use
for
well.
having me, and it's been wonderful seeing
Aw.
all of you again.
Yeah. Thanks, Granny. And I appreciate you coming on. Always. Always, always. Have a good night, honey.
You too.
And then there were
Isn't my
five.
bald head scaring people away?
Every
I feel like
time,
we're doing-
Randy. Every time.
I feel
I
like
know,
we're doing
I
Mystery
don't-
Science Theater
I'm gonna have
with
to put some anti-shine crap on there.
Say
You
that
know,
again,
I'm
Andy.
not afraid.
I feel like we're
Ooh,
doing
that's
Mystery
mine.
Science Theater with Randolph Richardson being the movie, and he's doing
Oh,
all
you
his work
You
there.
think that's what we should do?
Oh,
Wait a minute.
Sorry, what did I just miss?
Nothing at all.
Nothing, Randolph. It's fine. It's
little
fine.
chairs
We're
down the
doing
bottom.
Look at him struggling
Oh,
with that piece
geez.
of wood there. That's
I-
right. Get them gloves on. You don't want to get any splinters. Yeah. Be
Randolph's
careful.
made
Don't
me
want to
completely
Yeah, I actually said
reconsider
wood.
the world of plywood.
rip that new shirt. Be careful.
This reminds me of
Have
another
fun,
time when
guys.
somebody else mentioned wood.
And she was a soggy noodle. There you go. There it is.
Soggy.
His delay is funny sometimes. It cracks me up. Yeah, I can't believe my headphones died in the middle of Granny. I missed like 8 minutes of that. Trying
Yeah,
to
that
fix
sucked,
this.
dude.
And I accidentally kicked her when I put her back in, then I could hear her. I couldn't hear her.
Hmm.
Weird shit. What the
Yeah.
fuck, StreamYards? It's not okay.
I didn't suspect that.
I need to
Randolph
move
would be
into town.
wrong.
Yes, you do, Mr. 878 second delay. Sandy, he will reappear and just waiting for it. Hey, Andy, how's the new job going, buddy? I meant to ask you.
It is tough work. There's a lot. I find a lot of meaning in it. I help people in a very I feel like I'm watching my dad do work, but without feeling any of the guilt of not helping whatsoever. I just want to say that right now.
Sandy's over here. There he is. I saw his head, and there's the plywood.
Yep.
I think therapists might call this a corrective emotional response, right? That I get to kind of re-experience an incident without my dad yelling at me for not holding the hammer right, or ask me where those nails went to. I was like, I don't know where the nails
Andy.
went to.
We all went
What'd
through
you
that.
do with them bolts I
I
gave
got a
you,
story,
boy?
Andy.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I need to tell you this. This is hilarious. My dad always blamed me. My tools are coming up missing. It's like, well, you're working on a car, right? And he's like, I really need that one wrench. And it's like, it's not in your toolbox. God damn it, Randy. It's in there. I need that wrench. It's like, that does not mean it's in there, Dad. Then he jump out, from under the car. God damn it. It's in there. I know. And he dumped the whole toolbox out. Well, it's not in there. Okay. Where'd it go? Nobody even knows. 2 days later, we were looking out the window. We were both drinking coffee, and we saw the dog with a crescent wrench running through the backyard. And then he goes and buries it under the rabbit cages in the big piles of poop. And I'm like, aha! You can't blame me anymore. The dog wanted attention so damn bad, he was actually stealing tools out of the toolbox and burying them in the rabbit poop.
And
I got blamed for it.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, it was the funniest thing. It really was.
What I'm really
I just
curious
thought I'd
about
share
Randall
that because
is that how can he do this without cursing? Or does he have his mic off and we just don't hear the cursing? Because I know that I'd be cursing.
I don't think Randolph's much of a cursing kind of guy.
Curse.
He doesn't go around cussing like that. And I think when he gets frustrated, I think he just walks away and takes a deep breath and does something else for a minute.
That sounds like emotional maturity. I have no concept of this.
I don't either. I've just been watching him. I don't know anything else about it.
Oh, screw you guys and your maturity.
Nobody's ever heard me swear on the air. I don't believe I ever have. Some people are trying to get me to, but so far it hasn't happened.
I'll keep working at it, Randolph.
Don't waste your time.
It wasn't me anyways to begin with.
Hold your tongue and say apples.
I like Randolph. Randolph's a good dude.
I think Kendra may hold the record for how many times the word fucking shit got said during a deconversion story on Neil's channel.
I know, right? She cusses more than I do. I love her.
Tobin.
Tobin, she ever gets sick of you, I'm just telling you. No, she's awesome, dude. You guys are
I can
so
understand
cute
that.
Oh. Did we lose Tobin?
I'm going to tell you this.
Are we going on an adventure? Oh, no. I just went quiet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, there we go, Randolph.
I feel like this is some kind of like bird's eye view, close-up view of this old house or something. One of those.
Ooh, it's a tree.
Yes.
And now you will see the indigenous tree to Canada. That is a pine.
Randolph, if you fall, we will not be able to see you from this angle, sir. You have to think about the audience.
You can sort of see me here. You'll see me in a...
Okay, if you do fall, you'll have to do the kind of thing because
make it dramatic.
And if we miss it, take a double take and do it again.
You mean like Hank Hill? Oh!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like Hank Hill. Absolutely. Look at Sandy's over here. Sandy's over here saying, I love watching a man work. She said, oh, we're going to see him attach that plywood. Grins widely. She's looking for
now,
the
is he going to screw it or drive it? That's what I mean.
Oh, no, baby. You screw that shit down. Nails are for pussies. You screw that shit down. Nails are just for rough framing. Everything else should be screws.
I use both. I
agree.
Well, you can use both.
I don't know.
I mean,
it might be just
like my brother has a Hilti gun, So when we're framing out something, we're using that Hilti gun and putting, what is it? 16 pennies, 16 penny nails, I think they're called. Slapping them in with that air,
Yeah,
baby.
the framing nails.
Yeah. 16s, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are 16 penny. And you're supposed to, the old ones you get in with 2 swats. Otherwise, you're not tough. You're not a real framer if you can't get them in with 2 swats.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually 1 swat. It's a starter and a big slam. And my ex-husband, who was a framer all of his life, could do it every time. Once in a great while, like every 30 nails, he would drop one. He'd miss it on the start, and it would fly off to the side. Oh yeah, no, yeah, he had a 32-ounce S-wing he used.
It really does.
Yeah, or 36-ounce. Those big framing hammers.
It's an art.
Yeah.
What's really cool?
No, I screwed a house one time,
and then you can just like pop.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what Richard has. He's got an air gun. And I was like, I don't know if I want to use this. Then I used it once, and I said, "Oh, this is fucking awesome."
I have nailed my middle finger and my pointer finger together with a 1.5 inch finishing nail.
Ooh. Well, at least it was a finishing nail, not an old rusty 16.
It would have been a lot better if the head would have stuck out, but it actually went down into my skin, and I tried pushing it back out. Oh man, it was gnarly, but it came out clean.
This is a question for Randolph. Shouldn't you be having some kind of better footwear than that, sir? It seems to be rather dangerous.
Oh, nah. He's been asked this 100 times before. It's easier for him to do it this way. It's great. He's got his grip just like a simian.
You don't want to get it dirty. You don't want to get that dirty.
Shut up, Randy. Hey, Randolph.
Why?
Sandy wants to know why the reason for the gap up by the house. To your right.
Because that part's not finished yet.
Answer. There you go. There you go. You got it now. I'm assuming what he's doing is he's leaving a gap for like one of those, what do they call them? Not ledger
boards.
Or something. Anyways, there's a board that goes up against the house. Can't think of what it's called. I suck right now. Sometimes you're just not high enough. Anyways, so
what's the open crack against the house for? Well, because she's flirting with passengers by.
Oh my God, Randy. Yeah, Sandy, I'm sure when he gets to when he gets to the roofing part of the actual, I think he's putting regular shingles on it, I believe. Yeah, when he gets to that part, there will be lots of flashing going on. Yep, lots of flashing. And none of it involves nudity because you don't want to be nude and messing with flashing because it's very, very sharp on the edges. It will cut things off.
Especially in the summertime. Get sunburn that way.
Fact. Absolute fact. Why is everybody so quiet tonight? Was it a rough Monday? Is that what's going on?
I just work, and
it happened when I see. Oops.
Go ahead, Tobin. Do you want to get off?
I don't know. I just got distracted by watching. I'm trying to figure out what Randolph is actually doing. Is he putting a screw in there? I don't know.
Yeah, he's screwing down. He's screwing it down with screws, right? Yes, he's doing. Well, that's just because you can't see the screw very well. He's actually doing something into the roof.
We need a better camera.
Leave it open.
What? Randy, what? God, I hate that delay.
I said I'm not going to say the joke. I'm just going to leave it open. You discuss this yourself.
Yes, Randolph is screwing the wood down, Randy. Yes, that's what he's doing. He's screwing, and he's got wood.
You know,
And there's cracks. We know all about it now.
Without any sound from Randolph, I feel like there should be some kind of old-timey piano score playing. Something like that.
Right.
See, Randolph is great. I can see a smile there.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Oh, baby, come on and tell me I'm your own.
Hey, great job, babe.
No,
Wanna go
you're
on tour?
actually right, Jenna. Randolph is just a man constantly at work. He really is. He does so much stuff. And that's why I asked him, I was like, how do you do all this? Like managing, like you have a house, you have a full-time job with demanding customers, and you have this True North Talk you're trying to do, and then he's on YouTube, and then he's on Twitter. And I have decided that Randolph hasn't slept in 20 years. I think that's how he gets it all done.
Well,
Yeah,
I find having
yeah.
a sleep disorder helps. So I am up early and up late. Yeah, it helps get things done.
Okay.
My excuse when I was that energetic was because I was married to Peg Bundy.
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
And you know, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it's very soothing watching somebody else do work.
It's always nice to not be the one working. I'm serious.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I was caught up with
There was a job I was at, and these guys. Oh,
go ahead, Tobin.
dang it. There was a job where over on their freaking golf cart and ask us if we're done with the job, like every day, and it was still no. Would you still see us banging and screwing and hammering, and it'll be done when we're done.
Right. There you go.
Yep.
Sandy said.
Yeah, you can rarely in any jobs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sandy said it can be soothing to work while being watched. And she said, not with you bunch, however.
No. Yeah.
It's because we joke around with her too much and we're too distracting. Sorry, Sandy. I do miss like hanging out with you on your live streams and talking to you while you're working. So
yeah. Sandy does some great work.
She really does. My God,
really great work.
Amazing. The
It's
patience,
beautiful, is it not?
And the perseverance it takes to do something. She worked on that. How long did you work on that, Sandy? I mean, it was like months. She worked on that forever, and every little detail. She did it just right, just barely, just nice and tight. And it was, I don't know. I would never. I'd get like the first 10 done, and one of them would break, and I'd be like, "Fuck this! I hate stained glass. I'd never do it again." That would be it for me.
Yep, and then you probably drive over with a mini bike a couple of times, like I would.
Isn't working with stained glass? Isn't there a lot of lead involved?
Well, there's two different.
Used to be.
There's two different kinds of. Oh man, Sandy's gonna kick my ass because I can't remember all the terms. Here we go. She's gonna kick my ass. We have discussed this at length.
No. Just consult Sandy.
Tell me the two different kinds again. I know one's shaped like an H.
Yeah,
and then the other one.
That I appreciate Randolph's roof work, but his first floor stage I think was inspired.
His what?
His first floor work was much more inspired.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You mean the framing?
I'm just trying to provoke Randolph. That's all.
Well, he can't hear you. He's drilling right now. What are you trying to provoke Randolph? Leave that nice guy alone. Okay, he's just ignoring us at this point.
He's just ignoring. That's actually the best thing you can do.
Oh man.
I have many relationships that would agree with that statement. Just ignore Andy and things will be better.
I know, Jenna. No shoes again with that guy. I know. I know. 2 methods are came or foil and solder. That's it. Thank you. Yes. And it's very like intensive, extensive. Like she cut out every piece and then went over and like filed it down exactly where she wanted it. Then took it over and got the sharp edges off of all of it. And then she'd bring it over to where the tree was and she'd see if it's how, nope, I need to adjust that and that. And she'd take it back over. And this is one piece. And I don't even know how many pieces are in there right now. It's so many. I think it's like 400 or I don't even know. It's so many. I think it's hundreds of pieces in that piece.
The artwork is phenomenal to begin with, and then the science behind it to make it all fit together is just unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
That's the fun thing about all kinds of different arts is that discovery. That's what I enjoy about creating art is like at first you have a vision, you know what you want to do, but as you're going about it, you're trying to make all the pieces fit, and then as you're doing that, you discover another thing that can be incorporated into it, to the original vision.
Yep.
So it's like a discovery as you're making.
So it's more like a rough draft. The plans are a rough draft, and you refine it and change it as you go. So it's ever evolving until it's done.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like. And it doesn't matter if you're writing or if you're an artist or, a lot of times if you're doing a painting or something like that, if you see a lot of the original masterpieces, you'll see several layers of paint.
Yep,
and
true that.
And that's above the sketches that they made originally. So it's the same thing with whatever you do, really.
I'm going to run because I have an early show tomorrow. And
you should walk. It's dangerous to run in your house.
It is. Well, I have a cat. It is.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I got 2. I know, man. Ain't running in my house.
Well, B, thanks for having me on.
Ducks are nice to step on.
I truly appreciate you, Andy. It was lovely having you, and you're always welcome.
Why, thank you. And Tobin, good seeing you, brother.
Likewise, yeah. I'll be looking for you in the morning. Yep.
Cool. Tobin and I, we were talking about it earlier today. I'm just gonna about working on a song together called "Atheists Don't Have Youth Pastors."
Oh snap!
Yeah. I think it has potential. That's what I think it has.
That's
potential.
Awesome.
All right.
So likewise.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye, sir.
Good night.
See you later, Andy. Good night.
Andy's a great guy.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. What time is it? Oh, getting time to get off of here is what it's getting to be, guys. Unless more people want to come in, you guys can talk in the background. You're welcome to do that. I'll give you guys a link for whoever wants to. Nope, wrong button. For anybody that wants to come in and hang out in the background after I go to bed and talk to people, you are more than welcome to come up. And I decided I was just wearing myself
get up in the morning and go show people how shit's done.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't realize how much it was wearing me out to do all the streams and get them all set up and set up people in the background and blah, 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 until I was no longer working 2 part-time jobs. And then shit got real. And my current job is so mentally taxing that on Friday, I just can't. I'm like mentally, like my body's fine, but my brain is just, I can't even, literally. I have trouble like communicating on Friday nights.
Yeah.
I just need So I talked over with Purple a little bit in Twitter. She said, just kill your Friday night. There's other things going on. People are busy. There's not as many people on YouTube in general. And keep your Wednesday. So I took their advice, and that's what I'm going to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
You,
Right
you know,
on.
B, rest in your body isn't the only thing there is. I mean, you need the silence and self retrospect time to heal your mind also. So you need a couple
Yeah,
days to
it's true.
unwind from thinking about crap, you know, and just go get some fresh air and you get yourself
No, I hid
back
in my
into the
house, but it's
real
okay.
world of
It's
nature.
okay. I hid in my house, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start just going truck camping because it's just me. So basically, I'm just going to go rent a camping spot, and I'm just going to set out a couple chairs, and I'll cook out there and shit, and I can set up my little gazebo, and I'm just going to sleep in my truck because I'm not going to put a tent up for one person. I'm just not going to for a night or two. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I'm going to mention too. I'm going to try van living, and I'm planning this trip while we're talking about the subject. Just before you go,
yeah,
um,
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
being the harmonica man, and I am trying to get back on the road and see all of you around the United States. And I would like a gig set up to where I can make a little bit of money just to make the gas money to get to the next town, to the next friend, even if it's a
Buddy, I could
block
tell you
party or
right
whatever.
now, I could take you into Santa Fe to the plaza, and these guys, I'm telling you, some of them, the guy standing on the street corner just holding a sign makes $35 an hour minimum. Like that's the average I've heard. $35 an
Well,
hour.
to
And then
me,
the
the money
guys on
is
the
only half the thing.
plaza, they make like $200 an hour easy. They make so much money. And
Mm-hmm.
it's fun too because it's mostly just people walking around, and there's kids and dogs and people on bikes, and people just kind of wander around, listen to different
Yep, good foot
musicians.
traffic.
You just find a hole where there's no other musician and you take it.
Yeah, and you
Are
don't
you
get
talking
that in the
about
north
Santa
here.
Fe in
It's
Texas?
just
New
nobody cares.
Mexico.
Well, that's busking. That's busking. I'm talking
Yeah.
about actually having like concerts and stuff like that. With
Oh.
me being, because I am the one and only original harmonica man. I've been so since I was like freaking 7 years old. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I want to go on tour and I want to see all my old battle buddies and things like that, and go around, see all of you, and make a round trip around the United States while I'm still alive, which isn't going to last that damn long. My last go around, and have fun with everybody, play harmonica, and possibly use whatever I'm doing for whatever charities we got going on here in the community, and use the concerts and everything to benefit somebody who needs more help.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I want
Absolutely.
it. I
Some
want
of
it
the
to be
most
an advertised big thing, not just me. Not just me going around touring and saying hi and playing and doing whatever. I wanted to make it something about doing stuff, a humanist activity of me going around and playing.
Right.
Right on. One of the biggest concerts I ever helped, be a part of, organizing and stuff like that. We did a Red Cross for Florida. Florida had gotten hit like 3 times with the hurricane, pretty much back to back, from what I remember. But we drew the biggest crowd from doing that that fundraiser. Yeah, it I don't know. I like putting those together.
Right on.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a really cool idea, Randy.
Yeah, biggest one I was ever in was when I played with Eric Clapton. I think that was the
Right
biggest
on.
one. And second one was with B.B. King and Johnny Lang. I don't know, Robin Ford, all that. And I miss being on the big stage, and I miss making people happy and jumping off the stage and just making an ass of myself, and the crowd coming up and yeah, let's do it together, blah blah blah, stupid. And that's the kind of energy I want to get back in. Screw COVID, let's rock.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Randolph, I have to say, because Sandy said something in the chat and I was already thinking it, I noticed you were using a broom instead of a chalk line. You should just buy yourself a chalk line. You'll need it for putting the shingles on anyway.
Oh, I'm hiring a professional to put on the roofing. The shingles.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right,
So
fair enough.
It'll be fine.
Okay.
So, but yeah, a chalk line would be good. I usually have a 2x4. I should have brought one up with me. But
yeah,
chalk
but
line
then
would
it
be
gets in the
perfect.
way when you're trying to screw shit in. That's why chalk lines are beautiful.
Yeah,
Because they don't get in the way and you have room and you don't have to go around anything. And yeah.
I actually have really good vision, and I'm able to. I haven't missed.
Eyeball it.
I haven't missed anything yet. No, I know most people shouldn't eyeball it.
No, some of us
I
are
have
horrible at angles.
Turns out I have a particular talent for this, so I'm using it.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah,
Sounds
but,
good, man.
Normally, I know it's recommended to use a chalk line.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. I was just trying to help you.
No, you're a great help. Actually, you have lots of good suggestions. I haven't been able to find that staple gun, but I'm going to follow the link you sent me and see if I can order one. The
screw gun.
The screw gun for the gyprock.
Yeah, just look up electric drywall screw gun.
I think
You'll
you
find it.
sent me something in Twitter, private message. So I'll be looking into that in the near future. So
yeah, it'll help you out.
yeah. But I just couldn't believe it that the OSB wood was all just stapled in here. That was just ridiculous.
They stapled it all in into
wow.
a roof?
Really?
Yep.
Man, I'm amazed it lasted that long with the weather you guys have up there.
We don't get a
Well,
lot
you have to acknowledge that Canadians have metric systems, so
we don't get a lot of wind here. Like, we get wind, but nothing like we have in Florida or other places. So we get a lot of rain, though.
Yeah.
It's wild. If you take apart an RV or a FEMA camp trailer, I've done this several times. They are put together with a whole bunch of staples and a little bit of screws.
Dude, that's like, okay.
yeah.
When I went to look at this tiny home stuff, I started investigating how they build things because I wanted something that was going to last. And so I was looking at campers, of course, like everybody does at first. And I started checking out videos on YouTube. And I found this one guy, and he said, let me tell you, this cargo trailer, he said, the only reason I'm selling is I'm going smaller because he had a cargo trailer he lived in, and then he had all of his stuff stored in his van, and he pulled it around with the van around with the cargo trailer. He said, but I'm going down to just a van. I don't want to deal with the cargo trailer anymore. I'm too old. I don't want to deal with it. So he said, I've run into trees and taken off branches with this. And if you did that with a camper, you'd have a big asshole in your house. And I said, oh. So I started looking into it. And man, the assembly lines they have, these guys they just have staple guns and they're just throwing them everywhere. And half of them don't even hit the fucking wood. And then, the exterior is
Gary, Indiana.
very thin. Yeah. Yeah. And the exteriors are very thin on them, compared to like they're half the thickness of what they have on these cargo trailers that I have. So anything hits it. I've had like hailstorms and everything already out here. My whole house would be beat to shit. I don't have one dent in my house because it's a fucking cargo trailer. And that's why I went with it. You got to check out how they
those
build
cargo
shit.
Trailers are badass.
Yeah. You got to check out, like, this thing is tough, man. It is fucking tough for real. So yeah, I would never fuck all that staple shit. And, yes, Sandy said, stapled OSB on a roof. Oh boy, not built to last. And another reason to build your own. Yes. Yes.
It is very satisfying building a place. It really is.
Oh, yeah. Dude, when I built out this place, my chest was fucking 2 miles wide, and I was walking around like, look what the fuck I did. Look what the fuck I did by myself,
yeah,
bitch.
that's how it is.
It felt good, man. This is the first big task I started with little projects, like I'd build little tables, My ex, she loved to play with Legos, and she'd like to sit on the floor and play with Legos. But she had heart condition, and she had a trach in her throat, so she couldn't bend over anymore like she used to. So I built her a little table, and I put glued down Velcro to the top, and I took those green things for the Legos, the bases. I bought those and put them all down, and I bought a whole set of like thousands of pieces that somebody had left over from their kid. I found it online cheap, and I bought her that, and I put a drawer in, so all the Legos were in the drawer underneath the table, and she could sit on the floor and set that down, and she could play with her Legos. That's what she wanted to do, you know. So I started out with little things like that. I built her a couple cabinets. I put chicken wire on them, and I actually found a crate in the garage that some guy had been storing his tools in, and it was an old original crate, like they crated shit into the town we lived in, and it's had the town stamped on the side still, because this old man had lived there for like 50 years, you know, when he sold the house and we rented it. So yes, Sandy, you're right. We're gonna go down now. So I cut that up, and actually,
I was gonna say shit.
My kid actually sat there and pulled all those little fucking nails he had in there out for me from where he hung all his tools. He put all these nails and fucking screws in there, and I sanded it all down, and I stained it all and built her 2 cabinets out of it. And they were really fucking cool. And when we went to split up, I said, "What about that cabinet?" And she goes, "That was a gift. You are not taking that cabinet." Like, she's like, "You can have half the couch. Don't take that fucking cabinet." And then I built a gate on the back porch. And so the dogs could, you know, had to go into the yard and couldn't get off because the one she had was old and beat up and it was cheap. And so I made one out of wood. It was all scraps that were in the garage. I found so many scraps up in the rafters. I built all kinds of shit. I took the bed off of a truck I bought for $500, and the bed was rusted as shit. And I took that off and built a wooden bed for it, made it into like a little rat rod kind of deal. And then I was like, you know what? I could just build my own house. I could do it. Like, why do I doubt myself that I could do that? And so here I am. And by the way, so everybody knows, update, I ran the electrical 2 weeks ago. Had a little issue with the fuse box, something about the way my brother was wiring it. This newer fuse box didn't like it. He had to wire it a different way. And then now I have electric in my house and no more extension cords. So I'm kind of proud of that. And I ran all the electrical myself all the way to the fuse box. And then he did the fuse box just because I wasn't feeling too squishy about that. I wanted to see him do it because I'd only seen him do it one time. So he wired up the fuse box and flipped it on, and it worked great. And he said, "That's amazing." He said, "You almost always get a trip because something's wired wrong." He said, "The fact that it didn't trip right away means you did everything perfectly right."
I never get a trip when I do stuff.
If you got a 400 watt, solar panel array and then like 4 batteries, get yourself like a 1400 watt inverter, and you could have all that stuff going.
Hey, guess
like,
what, man?
All lit up, and you wouldn't even have to use any plug-in.
Guess what I did?
Or do you already?
Go check this out. This is what I did, right? I had him run a pigtail off of the fuse box. So anytime that fuse box is plugged in through so he's running me, which he hasn't done yet, but he's going to. He's running me, I bought a 30-foot RV kind of cable and the ends.
Right.
And he's building me because they're so expensive pre-built. I saved like $200, $150 having him do it. So he's going to wire that up, and he's putting a new plug over here on the pole. And then if one day I leave, they can rent the spot out to somebody else. It's going to be fully functioning for an RV. So, and then also on the fuse box, I have a pigtail for an extension cord. I have an electric generator with one set of solar panels, which I eventually will want to. I'm going to put 3 more on the roof, and I will eventually get more solar going. But in case of emergency, yeah, I can literally just turn on my generator and plug a cord into the fuse box, and it works.
Rock and roll. Heck yeah.
Yep, I did it on purpose.
What's up.
Yeah, that's a great setup.
So no matter where I am, even if I just have a regular house outlet to plug into to get power off of, I can have enough power to survive, off of just one outlet.
Yeah, that's really what we've come to the conclusion of, is have as many multiple ways of gaining power and or heating things, as many as you can possibly make it.
Yep, it's true. The next thing I want to do is
Yeah, I'm
trying
gonna
to
have to
find.
figure something out. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm trying to find a. I want another water reservoir to hold water. So I want to
Right.
try to find some kind of more of a pancake shaped, so I can just mount it underneath my house. I mean, my house is normal height, so I can get away with it. But I want it to be like off road capable. You know what I mean? So I don't want anything lower than
Right.
the axles are, or even close to that. So I
Right.
can
I
only
know
have
they
it.
make
don't.
those.
Yeah, but what I want is like going to be like 6 to 8 inches deep, and then like 6 foot wide, 6 foot long. That's what I want.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I
you
want
want
to. I
shallow
want to
tanks.
Be like 10, 15 gallons of water.
No, more than that. 6 foot long and 6 foot wide.
No, you're talking. You're talking 50 to 100.
Yeah, I think it's more like 100.
Thing of it is, you gotta beef up your axle a little bit too, with an extra couple
Well, I
of
got
leaf
double
springs or whatever you
axles.
got going on in order
I got
to.
double axles.
to
I got double axles
do
on
you?
this
And they're
thing,
probably 3 ton, aren't they?
and it has brakes on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't get the.
Oh, good.
I paid $5,500 just for the trailer,
Oh, wow.
and I went online, did like
Wow.
reviews,
See, I
and I
can
got
cash
the
bottles
third
in.
from the top, or the fourth from the top of the best they make. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't do that because I don't have anything set up yet. This is why I want to do the van living thing and just go as cheap as I can. And it's going to be cheaper not having something. And I thought, you know what? I've been looking on Amazon and all these other places for things to, tie up to the rooftop, the racks. And I'm like, well, shit, I already got an army duffel bags. Why don't I just get some rubberized tarp and call it a damn day?
Right. You know what you should look into? I would suggest this for anybody that wants to have a totally mobile home and doesn't want to have two separate pieces the way I do. If you're going to live in it full time. Also, Sandy, my truck can pull 3,000 more than I've ever pulled. So I was thinking more of like a reservoir for when I'm in a spot, like fill it up, go somewhere, and then I have continuous water supply. But anyways, because I only have 23 gallons inside my house, so I want another one. I don't know. I'll have to look into the weight, Sandy. I don't know how much that would weigh. I can't remember off the top. I guess that would be like, 800 pounds or something.
8.8 pounds per gallon.
Right. So 800-ish, 900. Anyways, so look into getting an ambulance. And the reason I say that is they have really good motors in them, like the best motors, and they're diesel. So they are strong. They can go anywhere. They're built to go a lot of places you don't know that an ambulance can go. Also, the cabinets in them that are pre-built in, and the seats are amazing. And then all you have to do is just go down to where the bench is and build a bed off that bench. You got a side door, back doors to open up on a nice day. Everything is literally there. You have compartments outside for tools that have locks on them. You might have to replace the locks because they're old or something.
You even have refrigerator units.
Some of them do, yeah. I'm telling you,
insulin and ham sandwiches.
Yep. And they also some of them, if they're air driven, have the compressors on them, which starts a whole new ball of wax. Yeah, you can do a lot with them. But no, old ambulance. I've seen some that have been rebuilt out, and those were really fucking nice when those guys got done. He hadn't painted the outside yet, but he redid the inside, and it was amazing. It was just beautiful what he did. And he just used mostly what was in there and just added, like a bed in and stuff. And he painted the walls a different color or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They're built for rollover. Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. They're
Sandy.
really solid units.
Boondocking when the shit hits the fan. Exactly, Sandy. That's exactly what I'm talking about. But
I'll be doing that
ways.
an awful lot too.
There's other ways.
I got a
There's
little
always
Kia, and
there's always getting one of those big
I'm fine with it.
get one of those big 50 to 100 gallon things you put in the back of your truck, and you can just strap it down. Has the big lid on the top you can fill it with, and the spout. Yep, there's always those. There are always those. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to end this. If you guys want to stay on and talk, you can. If anybody wants to come in and talk to these guys, the link's above you. You're more than welcome to. Just come in within the next 5 to 10 minutes, or I won't be here to let you in. What, Tobin?
I was gonna go hang out with Kevin here in a few minutes. I had
Kevin Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
cool.
told me to come hang out with them tonight.
Yeah, I'll be over there too.
Man.
What's gonna be going on here in a little bit.
All right. Well, everybody check that out if you want to stay up and watch something and chill with Tobin a little bit longer. I'm going to go take a much-needed piss and get ready for bed. And I'll probably be lurking in his chat, so I'll see you there.
Here.
Until I go to bed.
Thanks for letting me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on, Tobin. Randy, you know I appreciate you. Let's get that internet fixed. Randolph, I love you, and I appreciate you coming on. And it's looking good. It's looking good back there, buddy. You're doing a great job.
Appreciate it. I greatly appreciate you hosting this open mic so I can get a chance to let people see how things are progressing, because there are quite a lot of people interested, and I do get questions from time to time. How are things going? I haven't seen you on a live stream lately. So it seems there's people who like to follow around on the live stream and see if they can see some construction progress.
Right. Mm-hmm. Randall's like, I'm fucking busy. That's why you don't see me.
Great all the way around.
But it's nice. You guys were making some jokes earlier while I'm working away. It's a lot of fun. It helps pass the time in a very nice way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, buddy. Everybody out there, you know what I always say, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and have peace in your life.